Girton College at Cambridge University. Thank you very much indeed for being with us. So, first of all, is there any reason at all to believe that this truce can still be extended?
Well, it's certainly not looking positive in the least. The deadline is passing as we're speaking, but there's always got to be hope. Extensions and agreements have been reached at the last minute before, and the truce was renewed twice previously. Both of those renewals occurred at the very last minute. And it's worth pointing out that any deadline is artificial. So, we could even reach an agreement on renewal beyond the deadline or just beyond it. And I think there are two ways of looking at this. On the one hand, it's definitely the case that there is war fatigue, that people generally want renewal. This has been the longest relative period of peace that we've had now since April, when the truce began, for the whole of the war. So it's going to be really horrific if things return to war. But on the other hand, I think we need to acknowledge that war has become a way of life in many areas of Yemen, and particularly in those areas up north that are the Houthi strongholds, where they've seen war now pretty much on and off for the last 18 years, since 2004. So, it's really, I think the best that we could possibly hope for is that we'll get a very last minute temporary interim measure. But I think it's very doubtful that we'll get the expanded 6-month truce that the UN envoy was hoping for.
Well, if it isn't extended, which side would you say would be most at fault for the failure to extend it?
Well, this is a very complex conflict, so it's quite hard to categorize the good guys and the bad guys. The loyalties are fluid, and it's a very dynamic situation. But I think at this specific stage of the conflict, it does look like it's the Houthis who are standing in the way of extending this truce. Why do I say that? But I think if we look at the different component parts of the truce, it becomes clear there are 4 parts to it. One is the ceasefire, and that has largely held, but there have been violations. And the most frequent and flagrant of those have been done, it appears, by the Houthis, especially around this area of Taiz that bridges north and south. The second element is the entry of fuel ships. This is something that the Houthis demanded. And it hasn't been perfect, but about 4 times as much fuel has come in during the truce as previously. So the Houthis have largely got what they wanted there, even if the blockade proper is still in place. The third thing are the flights into Sana'a airport, commercial flights. These have started, and again, there aren't that many of them, but around 20,000 passengers have travelled. So that, again, was a concession to the Houthis. And then, lastly, there's the opening of roads around places like Taiz. The Houthis had agreed to this,
Dr.
and
Kendall,
they are the ones standing in the way.
Dr. Kendall, we have to leave it there, but thank you very much indeed. We appreciate it.
You're welcome. Thank you.